This is a hell of a betrayal of the American people when you will not tell them the truth because you're afraid that if you tell the truth, your bosses will take your job from you. That's a hell of a thing. You don't have a democracy when you don't have a free press. You're all slaves and you love it. So you deserve what you get. The erosion of your democracy. You'll soon be the laughing stock of the world.
Well, today, our dear brother, has to be very, very careful in this decision.
Watch for those close around for signs of betrayal. Because it is written in the scriptures of the Bible that in the last days, perilous times will come. And betrayal will be one of the marks of the end of the world because people will feel that they'll be safer betraying a good cause, a just cause to save their lives.
The West is trying to repeat history. They want to do what they're used to doing, but guess what? Times have changed and we're not going to allow the same thing to happen. What I want us to talk about today is about the similarities between Gaddafi and what is happening to Ibrahim Traore right now as we speak. If you remember, Gaddafi was taken out by the West, and here is a US politician admitting to it.
Libya. We were the ones that caused Gaddafi's death because Hillary Clinton played a game over there, and I was the one that went over there during the war.
History has a pattern. First, a leader challenges global power. Then, accusations begin. Then the media narrative shifts. Then pressure builds. And sometimes, the bombs fail. We saw it happen to Muammar Gaddafi. Now many people are asking, is something similar happening to Ibrahim Traore? Today, we are not dealing with emotions. We are dealing with facts, pattern, and power.
Gaddafi asked me to come over. I took a Biden staffer and a Bush staffer and a film crew leader from ABC One in New York, Larry Menti, with me, and a cameraman, because I didn't want the CIA to set me up. I hand-carried the letter back from Gaddafi offering to resign. The U.S. didn't want him to resign. They wanted to kill him.
Why?
Because Gaddafi, and I met him 3 times. I took Biden on my second trip to Libya, by the way. He went with me when I spoke to the whole country. And every meeting I had with Gaddafi, he wanted 2 things. He wanted to unite the African continent into a group of nations economically, like the European economy. He wanted to base it on the gold standard. And the U.S. and Europe didn't want that. And the other thing is they wanted control of his oil, and they wanted control of his sovereign wealth. So Gaddafi had to go.
As you heard Kurt Weldon admitting that Gaddafi was taken out by the US, this is not a new information for many, but I just wanted to put that out there because this man admits to being involved to what happened to Gaddafi. And what he said in that clip is that there are 2 things Gaddafi was pushing: the unity of African countries and the minerals. He wanted to use his own minerals for him and his own people, and they did not like that. They wanted to tap into that, so they removed him, right? And what did they used to say before they took him out? They used to tarnish his name. They used to say he's using Libya's resources for his personal gain. He's not a good leader. He's a dictator. They smeared his name and then came after him. Now they have begun the first step to what they did to Gaddafi, which is smear Ibrahim Traore's name, the president of Burkina Faso. They have started saying that he's using the gold of Burkina Faso to protect himself instead of using it for his people.
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime.
And so it begins. They first tarnish your name. They say that you're misusing your resources. Mind you, this is Burkina Faso's resource. And Ibrahim Traore is the leader of Burkina Faso at the moment. So as the leader, he's the one that is going to dictate how that gold or how that resource is going to be used. But guess what? The United States want to pick and choose who can run Burkina Faso, who can use the resources, the same thing they did in Libya. And look at Libya right now and look at what they were able to do to Libya. So now when they're trying to repeat history, guess what the people of Burkina Faso and Africans as a whole are saying? We're saying no, it's not going to happen. History is not going to repeat itself because we will not allow it.
That there is no king, no ruler, no prophet who enjoys 100% the love of his people. That has never happened in these 6,000 years, and it certainly is not so in America, and it was not so in Libya. I never lived in Libya, so I don't know Libya like the Libyans know Libya. But I know something of the good of Muammar Gaddafi that made me to love him as a brother and to feel a great sense of loss at his assassination. Before I say to the public some of the things that Brother Gaddafi did that can be proved at no limit of time, I'd like to read to the public Brother Gaddafi's last will and testament that came out sometime yesterday. As you know, Brother Muammar Gaddafi was offered asylum in other countries. He refused to leave Libya. And as you know, he said he would be martyred in Libya. This is where he lived. This is where he would fight, and this is where he would die. So I'd like to read this will, and I want you to listen carefully to his words. He said, "This is my will. I, Muammar bin Mudabir bin Muhammad bin Abdussalam bin Humaid bin Abu Manya bin Humaid bin Nail al-Fusi Gaddafi, do swear that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his messenger. Peace be upon him. I pledge that I will die as a Muslim." This was written on the 17th of October. He said, "Should I be killed, I would like to be buried according to Muslim rituals in the clothes I was wearing at the time of my death, but with my body unwashed in the cemetery of Sirte next to my family and relatives. I would like that my family, especially the women and children, to be treated well after my death. The Libyan people should protect its identity, achievements, history, and the honorable image of its ancestors and heroes. The Libyan people should not relinquish the sacrifices of the free and best people. I call on my supporters to continue the resistance and fight any foreign aggressor against Libya today, tomorrow, and always. Let the free people of the world know that I could have sold out our cause in return for a secure and stable personal life. I received many offers to this effect, but chose to be at the vanguard of the confrontation as a badge of duty and honor. Even if we do not win immediately, we will provide a lesson to future generations that choosing to protect the nation is an honor, and selling it out is the greatest betrayal that history will forever remember, however they try to portray this. This was the end of his will. He was killed in a military uniform. He wanted to be buried in the khaki clothes that he was wearing. And of course, you heard the news that they took his body out in the middle of the night. He and his son, Mutasim, who we have in a picture meeting with Hillary Clinton a year and a half ago and shaking hands with Secretary of State Clinton, which should show the world that shaking hands with your enemy and receiving a pat on the back from your enemy should never lull you to sleep that the enemy has changed. The enemy is the enemy. And when you fall asleep on that knowledge, that is when the enemy will take us out. The betrayals of his inner circle. Don't think that that is overseas. That is in our own house. And we today need to watch for those close around for signs of betrayal. Because it is written in the scriptures of the Bible that in the last days perilous times will come. And betrayal will be one of the marks of the end of the world, because people will feel that they'll be safer betraying a good cause, a just cause, to save their lives. Gaddafi died in honor, fighting for the Libya that he believed in. They would never have won if NATO was not bombing day in and day out. Brother Ali Baghdadi, that is a writer and a great Arab writer, said they bombed Libya back to the Stone Age. We were in Libya. We saw Libya being built from the ground up. We witnessed what this man did for the Libyan people. And for NATO to have bombed it like this, watch for Halliburton, watch for Bechtel, watch for the vultures of London, England, and France, and others trying to rebuild the infrastructure that they purposely destroyed, which is against international law. You went for humanitarian purposes, yet 50,000 Libyans lie dead because the West wanted access to the wealth of Libya. Now let me tell you what this man did. Did he kill people? Well, hell, did our president kill people? Talk back to me. Yes. You have made your president an assassin. That the only value that he has now is that he was responsible for the death of Osama bin Laden. He was captured without a weapon. He should have been brought to America, put on trial for the American people to see this man. But he was executed, so you will never know the real truth. Then Alaki, an American citizen, who is against America's policies, a drone took him out and then came back later and killed his son. Now Muammar Gaddafi and his sons lie dead. Saddam Hussein and his sons lie dead. Well, what about your sons? They're dying in Iraq on the basis of a lie. They're dying in Afghanistan on the basis of a lie. And now drones are in Pakistan, drones in Somalia, drones in Yemen. When will it stop? America, do you think that you can get away with this? If it's time for another commercial, then you go on and take the commercial. I'm just warming up.
All right. Thank you, Brother Minister. Brother Minister, the Honorable Louis Farrakhan is in our studio. Stay with us.
You're watching The Media Connection, and we're joining WVON talk show host Cliff Kelly as he talks to Minister Louis Farrakhan about the killing of Colonel Muammar Gaddafi.
It wasn't any money that he loaned to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, or that he loaned to the Nation of Islam and forgave for $5 million that he loaned us, for you to think that I am that kind of prostitute, that I would give myself to any man for money. It's the principle that made me his brother. Now look at what this man did. After nationalizing the oil, he used the oil revenue to benefit the Libyan people, building schools, infrastructure, universities, hospitals. He raised the literacy rate from 20% when he became the leader, and at the time of his assassination, it is 83%. Libya has one of the finest healthcare systems in the third world. All people have access to doctors, hospitals, clinics, and medicines free of charge. If a Libyan needs surgery that is unavailable in Libya, funding is provided for the surgery to be carried out overseas. He raised the life expectancy of the Libyan people from 44 years, and now at the time of his assassination, 75 years of age. Basic food items were subsidized and electricity was made available throughout the country. Brother Muammar Gaddafi has set up huge irrigation projects which were established in order to support a drive toward agricultural development and food self-sufficiency. He spent $33 billion on the man-made river, where his engineers brought water up out of the desert, and now pipelines ran from Benghazi and Tobruk almost to the door of Tunisia. Any Libyan who wanted to become a farmer was and still is given free use of land, a house, farm equipment, livestock, and seed. Brother Muammar Gaddafi vowed that his own parents, who lived in a tent in the desert, would not be housed until every Libyan was housed. He fulfilled that promise. Under the revolutionary leadership of Muammar Gaddafi, Libya has now attained the highest standard of living in Africa. Money from Libya's oil revenue is directly deposited into the bank account of every Libyan. Women have full access to education, employment, and he has enabled women to serve in the armed forces. And this is most important. Gaddafi was the first and the only leader in the Arab world to formally apologize for the Arab role in the trade in captured Africans. Gaddafi acknowledged that the black Africans were the true owners of Libya and proclaimed in his green book, quote, "The black race shall prevail throughout the world." Now, Brother Gaddafi took oil money and started moving the Organization of African Unity toward the African Union with a goal toward uniting 53, now 54 nations in Africa to the United States of Africa. Whenever we called Africa, our call had to go through Europe, and over $500 million went to Europe. But Gaddafi put up 400 million, and the rest of Africa put up 100 million and put up an African satellite. Now you can call directly to Africa from anywhere in the world without going through Europe. He asked the African nations to stop sending their raw materials to Europe to be made into products and then sent back to Africa to be paid for in an exorbitant price range. He wanted the Africans to take their raw materials and make them into products and then sell their products on the world market. This is the man that was assassinated, and I'll close this point. The minute he wanted Africa united, America, Britain, France, Germany, Europe was against it. So they set up NEPAD, a new economic development pact. Gaddafi was against it. Sarkozy came up with another plan to take all the North African nations that are Arab and unite them with the nations of Southern Europe. Gaddafi rejected that. America wanted to set up on the African continent African as a launching pad for the recolonization of Africa. Gaddafi was against that. I read an article by the Jewish man from a Zionist that was the former assistant to Rumsfeld. I can't call his name. Who?
Pearl?
No, not Pearl. Wolfowitz.
Wolfowitz, yeah.
Wolfowitz.
Hold your point, Minister. We got to go to the top of the hour break. That's the kind of information that I wanted you to give us.
You're watching The Media Connection, and now we're going to hear some candid words from Minister Louis Farrakhan as he speaks to the media and their role in exposing what he believes is the truth that's not being told. Let's join Cliff Kelly and Minister Louis Farrakhan.
This is a hell of a betrayal of the American people when you will not tell them the truth because you're afraid that if you tell the truth, your bosses will take your job from you. That's a hell of a thing. You don't have a democracy when you don't have a free press. You're all slaves, and you love it. So you deserve what you get, the erosion of your democracy. You'll soon be the laughing stock of the world. It's a damn shame. That's why the children are occupying space in New York, in Boston, in Washington, in Chicago, in San Francisco, and other cities. Why? Because they're not looking to you as a source of information for them. Look how long it took you all to talk about what was going on in New York. It took you 2 weeks because the same people that controlled the banks controlled the media. You all know it, but you're afraid to say it. But God put it on Farrakhan to say it for you. And maybe one day you'll get some courage to stand up and give America free media, a real free fourth estate. But right now, you ain't even worth the time of day. You need somebody to tell the truth.
That's right.
You need.
I'm going to ask you a question. Do you think God would give his only begotten son for this world?
Think about it.
This thing. Look at the world that you live in. How rotten it is. We voted for our brother, Barack. Beautiful human being with a sweet heart. And now he's an assassin. They've turned him into them. You didn't hear me. They turned. They brought him to England. See? Oh, now he can stay in Buckingham Palace. Nobody stayed there. Just a few presidents. Why him? Why? See, we know this enemy. See, America can sit down tyrants, but who will sit her down? She puts her trust in her weapons of war. She threatens the nations of the earth and has my brother calling for the assassination of brother Muammar Gaddafi. What has he done? I can defend that man. You don't know that man. See, you're a victim of that media that's controlled by satanic forces. My poor brother. They're bombing. They said they were only going over there for humanitarian reasons. We're going to stop Gaddafi from killing his own people, and we believe that. You've been deceived. You talk about a man killing his own people when you lie to the American people saying that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. When you lie and then take innocent young men who come to serve their country and send them to die in Iraq, in Afghanistan, over lies, that's a murderer in the White House. Who will say it? I will, because I have a power behind me that is bringing America to judgment as we speak.
In 2011, during the Arab Spring, protests broke out in Libya. The situation escalated into armed conflicts. NATO intervened, claiming humanitarian reasons to protect civilians. Soon after, Gaddafi was captured and killed. Supporters say he raised literacy dramatically. He invested oil revenue into infrastructure. He pushed for African unity and financial independence. Critics say he ruled with an iron fist. Political opposition was crushed. Human rights abuses were real. Both things can be true. But here is the undeniable reality. After his death, Libya collapsed into instability. That vacuum of power changed North Africa permanently. Let's talk resources. Libya had oil. Burkina Faso has gold. When leaders begin talking about nationalizing resources, reducing Western influence, strengthening African independence, global pressure often increases. Is that a coincidence or geopolitics? It's important to understand major powers don't operate on friendship. They operate on interest. But, and this is crucial, internal instability also plays a role. Burkina Faso faces terrorist insurgencies, economic struggles, political fragility. This is not a simple West versus Africa movie script. It's more complicated. Some voices, including Louis Farrakhan, argue that Western media smears independent leaders, justifies intervention, protects elite interests. There is truth in the idea that media corporations are powerful. But we must be careful. Criticism of a leader is not automatically a conspiracy. Sometimes governments fail their people. Sometimes external powers exploit that failure. Both can exist at the same time. Ibrahim Traore came to power through a military coup in 2022. He has expelled French troops, spoken about sovereignty, strengthened relationships in Russia. To supporters, he is a revolutionary. To critics, he is another military ruler. The key question is this: is he building long-term stability, or is Burkina Faso entering a new dependency, just under a different global power? Because true sovereignty is not switching masters. True sovereignty is self-sustainability. Libya teaches one big lesson. When a system collapses, chaos fills the vacuum. Removing a leader is easy. Building state institution is hard. If Burkina Faso wants to avoid Libya's fate, it must strengthen institutions, improve security, diversify partnership carefully, avoid isolation. Because geopolitics is a chessboard, not a battlefield of emotions. This isn't about defending dictators. It's not about praising the West. It's about understanding power. Africa must learn from history, not repeat it. The real question is not, is the West targeting Burkina Faso? The real question is, can Burkina Faso build a system strong enough that no one can destabilize it? That is the real revolution. The world is changing. Western dominance is being challenged. Russia and China are expanding influence. Africa is becoming the new geopolitical battlefield. But here is the truth nobody says. If Africa does not unite economically and politically, it will keep changing colonizers, not ending colonization. History doesn't repeat itself by accident. It repeats when lessons are ignored.